Chapter 1. The Vanishing Passenger. The streets of London were swallowed by a thick, oppressive fog, its tendrils curling around gas lamps and silencing the usual clamour of the city. The rhythmic clatter of hooves and the faint calls of newspaper vendors felt distant, as if muffled by the weight of the night. In the warmth of 221B Baker Street, I sat by the crackling fire, my thoughts adrift in the haze of the evening. Holmes, ever enigmatic, lounged in his armchair, his sharp features illuminated by the flickering flames. His fingers were steepled, his eyes half closed, yet I knew his mind was far from idle. It was a storm of deduction, always churning, always watching. "Watson," he said suddenly, breaking the silence, "do you recall the case of the Red-Headed League?" I looked up, startled. "Of course, a most peculiar affair." "Peculiar indeed," he murmured, his gaze fixed on some distant point. "But what if I told you there are cases far more peculiar, cases that defy not only logic, but the very fabric of reality?" Before I could respond, there was a sharp knock at the door. Mrs. Hudson entered, her face pale. "A gentleman to see you, Mr. Holmes. He insists it is urgent." The man who followed her was of middling height, his face obscured by a heavy coat and a hat pulled low over his brow. His hands trembled as he removed his gloves, and his voice was barely above a whisper. "Mr. Holmes, I beg your assistance. My brother, he has vanished." Holmes leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with interest. "Vanished, you say? Pray elaborate." The man hesitated, as if the words themselves were dangerous. "His name is Henry Acton. 3 days ago he boarded the midnight train to Edinburgh. He was seen by the conductor, spoke to fellow passengers, and yet, when the train arrived, he was gone. No one remembers him. Not the conductor, not the passengers. Even his ticket was never issued." I frowned. Surely there must be some mistake. Perhaps he disembarked at an earlier station. The man shook his head vehemently. "No, Doctor. I checked every station along the route. No one recalls seeing him. It's as if he never existed." Holmes steepled his fingers again, his expression inscrutable. "And what of his belongings? His home? His place of work?" "Gone," the man whispered. "His flat is empty, as if no one has lived there for years. His employer claims they have no record of him. Even his photograph. It's faded, as though the image itself is disappearing." A chill ran down my spine. Holmes, however, seemed unperturbed. "Most intriguing. Tell me, Mr. Acton." "Forgive me," the man interrupted, "but I am not Henry Acton. I am his brother James, and I fear I may be next." Holmes rose abruptly, his movements sharp and deliberate. "Watson, fetch your coat. We have a train to catch." The station was nearly deserted at this late hour, the platform illuminated by flickering gas lamps. Holmes moved with purpose, his keen eyes scanning the ground, the walls, the very air itself. He paused at the spot where Henry Acton had allegedly boarded the train. "Observe, Watson," he said, pointing to the ground. "The mud here is disturbed, but not by the usual foot traffic. Someone stood here for some time waiting." I nodded, though I could see nothing unusual in the faint impressions. Holmes, however, was already moving again, his gaze fixed on the train tracks. "The midnight train," he murmured. "A curious choice. Few passengers, fewer witnesses. An ideal setting for disappearance." "Holmes," I said, my voice low, "surely you don't believe this nonsense about a man being erased from existence?" He turned to me, his eyes glinting in the lamplight. "My dear Watson, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. And this case, I fear, is far from impossible."